There's only one thing I fear in life. No, two things. No, I'm not gonna. I fear and I fear the FBI. Only two things I'm scared in life. God first and the FBI.
So 6ix9ine just went live and dropped what might be one of the messiest bombs of 2024. He's claiming he has inside information about Demi Lovato allegedly relapsing, and the internet is absolutely losing it right now. We're talking about two celebrities with incredibly complicated histories, and this situation is way more layered than it seems at first glance. Before we even get into what he said, you need to understand that this might be the most desperate play for attention we've seen from him yet, and that's saying something considering his entire career has been built on controversy. Let me back up for a second because you need to understand who's saying this and why it matters. 6ix9ine, whose real name is Daniel Hernandez, has made a career out of being controversial after his 2019 cooperation with federal prosecutors that got him released early from prison. He's been trying to stay relevant by any means necessary. His return to social media has been chaotic, and he's consistently gone after other celebrities to keep his name trending.
Opens the door, puts the in my face, yo, give me everything, run everything. I'm like, oh, they got me. It's over. I got some jewelry back at the house. I don't tell them where I live. While I'm telling them, pleading like, yo, sorry, they're driving right to the front of my house. How would they know where I live?
We're talking about someone who testified against his former associates, got labeled a snitch by basically the entire hip-hop community, and then tried to come back like nothing happened. His first post-prison Instagram Live broke records with millions of viewers, but that momentum died fast. His music started flopping, venues wouldn't book him because of security concerns, and other artists refused to collaborate with him. He's essentially been blacklisted from the industry he once dominated with his aggressive, in-your-face style. That context is crucial because it explains why he's now targeting someone like Demi Lovato, who exists in a completely different music world. Demi Lovato, on the other hand, has been incredibly open about their struggles with addiction. In 2018, Demi suffered a near-fatal overdose that left them hospitalized and fighting for their life. They've been transparent in interviews and their documentary, Dancing with the Devil, about the severity of that overdose. Doctors reportedly told their family to say goodbye because they didn't think Demi would make it through the night. That's how serious it was. Demi had multiple strokes, a heart attack, and suffered brain damage that affected their vision.
6ix9ine got off easy yesterday, but victims from his gang-related crimes are still saying that he should pay a price. We spoke with Sky Daniels, who was mistakenly held at by 9 Trey Blood members in 2018, and to this day, she's still rattled.
I was in the hospital.
They were left with blind spots that will never fully heal. In the documentary, Demi revealed details that were absolutely heartbreaking. They talked about how their drug dealers them the night of the overdose, and how that trauma compounded everything they were already dealing with. They discussed being given drugs laced with which is what nearly killed them, the vulnerability. Demi showed in sharing that story helped countless people who were struggling with similar issues. It wasn't just celebrity gossip. It was someone using their platform to potentially save lives by being honest about the reality of addiction. Fast forward to now, and Demi has been publicly celebrating their sobriety journey. They've talked about adopting what they call a California sober approach at one point, which meant they still consumed marijuana and alcohol in moderation, while staying away from harder substances. This sparked massive debate in the recovery community because traditional sobriety is typically defined as complete abstinence from all mind-altering substances.
I'm good in my hood. Always see me, I'm outside. I'm never by myself, bro. Never by myself. Always talking about always see me by myself, don't do nothing. If you don't like me, do something about it, because I'm always in New York by myself.
Addiction specialists were divided on whether Demi's approach was a valid harm reduction strategy or a dangerous game that could lead to relapse. Demi later clarified that they've moved away from even that moderated approach and are now completely sober from all substances. They talked about how they realized that for them personally, the California sober method wasn't sustainable. In a 2022 interview, they mentioned that their body had been through too much trauma and that complete sobriety was the only path forward that made sense for their recovery. So when 6ix9ine hopped on Instagram Live a few days ago, he started talking about how he supposedly has connections that told him Demi is struggling again. According to him, People close to Demi's circle have been worried and trying to get them help. He rambled for several minutes about how he has sources in the industry who are concerned, and how he felt like he needed to speak up because nobody else was saying anything.
Filing life insurance and putting himself as the beneficiary. There was a video that was leaked and she's accusing him of leaking it. 6ix9ine did a trick, created a company he made her sign a paper to, and that was a company that she introduced to companies such as Rock Nation to send the money to.
He didn't provide any evidence, any screenshots, any receipts, just his word, which, considering his track record, doesn't hold much weight for a lot of people. The way he presented the information was particularly sketchy. He kept saying things like, "I'm just saying what I heard," and "don't shoot the messenger," which are classic deflection tactics people use when they're spreading rumors they can't back up. He also kept bringing up his own relevance and how people need to respect that he's still a major voice in entertainment, which made the whole thing feel even more like a desperate grab for attention. The timing of this is suspicious as hell. 6ix9ine just released new music that's been flopping hard. His streams are nowhere near what they used to be, and his last few singles barely made a dent on the charts. His most recent track didn't even crack the Billboard Hot 100, which for someone who used to debut in the top 10 regularly is a massive fall from grace. It's pretty convenient that he'd choose this moment to make explosive claims about another celebrity who's been in the news recently. What makes this even messier is that 6ix9ine and Demi have zero public connection. They don't run in the same circles, they don't make the same type of music, and there's no documented history of them even being at the same events. 6ix9ine operates primarily in the hip-hop and Latin music spaces, while Demi is firmly in the pop and rock world. Their touring circuits don't overlap, their collaborators don't overlap, and their social circles don't overlap. So where would 6ix9ine be getting this information from? He claims it's from mutual industry connections, but he won't name names, which is classic behavior when someone's making things up for attention. The more you look at his claims, the less sense they make. He mentioned that people in Los Angeles were talking about Demi's alleged struggles, but Los Angeles is a massive city with a huge entertainment industry. Saying people in LA are talking about something is basically meaningless without specifics. It's the equivalent of saying, "I heard from someone somewhere that something is happening." That's not information, that's gossip at best and fabrication at worst. Demi's team hasn't released an official statement yet, but people close to them have been posting cryptic messages on social media that seem to be addressing the situation indirectly. One of their longtime friends posted on Twitter saying, "People will say anything for clicks, praying for those who weaponize others' trauma for clout." The tweet didn't name 6ix9ine specifically, but the timing is pretty obvious. Another person who's worked with Demi on multiple projects posted on Instagram stories with a simple message that said, "Support your friends in silence. Don't feed the trolls." The recovery community is pissed about this, and rightfully so. Whether Demi is struggling or not, making someone's alleged relapse into entertainment content is incredibly harmful. Addiction is a medical condition, and people in recovery face enough stigma without celebrities using their struggles as gossip fodder. Organizations like SAMHSA and the National Council for Mental Well-Being have long advocated for treating addiction discussions with sensitivity and respect. Making someone's potential medical crisis into a spectacle violates every ethical guideline around addiction reporting. Let's talk about why claims like this are so dangerous. When someone publicly accuses another person of relapsing without evidence, it can actually trigger people who are in recovery. Addiction specialists say that public speculation about someone's sobriety status can increase shame and make it harder for people to seek help when they're genuinely struggling. It creates an environment where people are afraid to be honest about their challenges because it might become gossip. Imagine being in recovery and seeing millions of people casually discussing whether or not you've relapsed. That kind of pressure can actually push someone toward using again. Dr. Gabor Mate, a renowned addiction specialist, has spoken extensively about how shame is one of the biggest barriers to recovery. When society treats addiction as entertainment rather than illness, it reinforces the idea that people struggling with substance abuse are somehow less deserving of privacy and dignity. That stigma kills people. It literally prevents them from seeking the help they need because they're terrified of being judged or becoming a public spectacle. There's also a legal angle here that people aren't talking about enough. If 6ix9ine's claims are completely fabricated and cause damage to Demi's reputation or career, that could potentially be grounds for a defamation lawsuit. Now, public figures have a higher bar to prove defamation than regular people do. They'd have to show that 6ix9ine made these statements with actual malice, knowing they were false, or with reckless disregard for the truth. Given that he provided zero evidence and has a pattern of making inflammatory statements for attention, that might not be impossible to prove. Defamation cases involving celebrities are notoriously difficult to win, but there have been successful ones. Johnny Depp's recent defamation trial against Amber Heard showed that juries are willing to side with public figures when the evidence is clear. If Demi's legal team can demonstrate that 6ix9ine had no reasonable basis for his claims, and that those claims caused measurable harm, they might have a case. The bigger question is whether Demi would want to go through the public scrutiny of a lawsuit, which could be re-traumatizing. Looking at 6ix9ine's history, this isn't even close to the first time he's done something like this. He's previously made claims about other rappers, started beef with dozens of artists, and consistently violated the street code he once claimed to live by. His credibility is essentially non-existent at this point. Most people in the hip-hop community won't work with him because of his cooperation with law enforcement, and now he's branching out to attack artists in completely different genres. It's like he's systematically burning every bridge in the entertainment industry. He's gone after Meek Mill, accusing him of various things without proof. He's feuded with Lil Durk, making inflammatory statements that some people worried could escalate into actual violence. He's called out Snoop Dogg, one of the most respected figures in hip-hop. Each time he provides no real evidence, just loud accusations designed to get people talking. And each time, it works because we keep giving him the attention he's desperate for. What's interesting is how different generations are reacting to this. Younger fans on TikTok seem more divided. Some are defending 6ix9ine's right to speak his mind, while others are calling out how problematic it is to speculate about someone's mental health and addiction struggles. There are TikTok creators making videos both defending and criticizing him, and the comment sections are war zones of people arguing about whether he crossed a line. Older millennials and Gen X folks who remember the height of tabloid culture in the 2000s are pointing out that we're essentially regressing to that toxic era of celebrity gossip where nothing was off limits. They remember when magazines like Us Weekly and TMZ would publish stories about celebrities checking into rehab with gleeful headlines. They remember when Britney Spears' mental health crisis was treated as entertainment. They've seen this movie before, and they know how it ends. It ends with real people suffering real consequences while everyone moves on to the next scandal. Demi's been through enough public scrutiny to last several lifetimes. Beyond the 2018 overdose, they've been open about their eating disorder, their bipolar disorder, and their struggles with self-harm. They spent years in and out of treatment facilities trying to get healthy. They've used their platform to help destigmatize mental health issues and addiction, speaking at events and creating content specifically designed to help people who are struggling. That's why this situation feels particularly gross to a lot of people. Someone who's been vulnerable about their struggles is now being used as content by someone desperate for relevance. The social media response has been overwhelmingly negative towards 6ix9ine. His comment sections are flooded with people calling him out for using serious topics as clickbait. Even some of his remaining fans are saying he crossed a line this time. Multiple verified accounts in the music industry have posted about how damaging this kind of behavior is, not just to Demi, but to everyone struggling with addiction who might see this and feel like their privacy and dignity don't matter. There's a broader conversation happening about accountability in the social media age. 6ix9ine can hop on Instagram Live and make whatever claims he wants to millions of people. And by the time anyone fact-checks him or pushes back, the damage is already done. The rumor spreads faster than the correction. Search Demi Lovato Relapse right now, and you'll find dozens of videos and articles discussing 6ix9ine's claims, most of them with clickbait thumbnails and titles. The algorithm rewards controversy, and he knows that. He's gaming the system, using other people's trauma as fuel for his dying career. What we do know for certain is that Demi has been active on social media recently, posting about their music projects and appearing to be in good spirits. They've been working on new material and doing press for their latest releases. Just last week, they posted studio photos showing them recording what looks like a new album. They've been engaging with fans, sharing snippets of new songs, and generally seeming engaged and present. None of that definitively proves anything about their private life, but it's worth noting that the public-facing version of Demi doesn't match what 6ix9ine is claiming. Mental health professionals who work with addiction have been speaking out about this situation too. Dr. Nzinga Harrison, who specializes in addiction medicine, posted on her platform about how public speculation can actually worsen someone's mental health crisis if they are indeed struggling. She emphasized that if someone is relapsing, they need support and privacy, not millions of people discussing their lowest moments as entertainment. She pointed out that the stress of public scrutiny can actually trigger substance use in people who are already vulnerable. The music industry has a long, complicated history with addiction. We've lost countless talented artists to overdoses and substance abuse. Mac Miller, Juice WRLD, Lil Peep, Amy Winehouse, Prince, Tom Petty. The list goes on and on. Each of those tragedies was preceded by periods where people gossiped about their struggles. Instead of taking them seriously, Mac Miller's addiction was joked about in comment sections before he died. Juice WRLD's drug use was celebrated in his music before it killed him. At 21, Amy Winehouse's struggles were literally turned into punchlines before she died at 27. That's why some people are saying this 6ix9ine situation, even if the claims are false, represents a larger problem with how we treat addiction in the public eye. We haven't learned from those losses. We're still treating substance abuse as entertainment instead of the life-threatening medical condition it actually is. Every time we engage with content that speculates about someone's addiction status, we're contributing to a culture that could literally cost lives. From a purely strategic standpoint, this move by 6ix9ine is probably going to backfire. He might get a temporary spike in attention, but he's burning whatever bridges he had left in the industry. Artists who might have considered working with him despite his past are now seeing him weaponize someone's trauma for clicks. That's not the kind of person anyone wants to associate with professionally. Record labels don't want to sign someone who creates PR nightmares. Brands don't want to partner with someone who's seen as malicious and unstable. There's also the question of why we, as an audience, engage with this content at all. Videos discussing these claims get millions of views, Twitter threads dissecting every angle trend for days. We're all participating in a system that rewards this kind of behavior. Even when we're criticizing it, 6ix9ine makes the claim. Creators make content about the claim. Audiences watch the content, and the cycle continues. Breaking that cycle requires collective action to simply ignore baseless allegations. But that's easier said than done when the algorithm is literally designed to promote controversial content. Looking at how similar situations have played out in the past, Demi will likely address this eventually, either through their team or directly. When Demi does speak on things, they tend to be direct and don't mince words. If these claims are false, which seems likely given the complete lack of evidence, we might see a strong response. Demi has clapped back at false rumors before, and they're not shy about setting the record straight when people cross boundaries. If there's any truth to struggles they're facing privately, they might choose to maintain their privacy, which would be completely understandable and is absolutely their right. The whole situation raises questions about what information is actually in the public interest versus what's just invasive. If a celebrity is struggling with addiction, does the public have a right to know? Most ethical frameworks would say no, unless that person chooses to share it themselves. Addiction is a medical issue, and medical privacy should be respected regardless of someone's fame level. HIPAA laws exist for a reason. Just because someone is famous doesn't mean their medical information should be public property. What's clear is that 6ix9ine is using shock value as his primary currency at this point. His music isn't connecting the way it used to. His legal troubles have made him radioactive in the industry, and he's geographically limited in where he can safely travel. Making inflammatory claims about other celebrities is one of the few tools he has left to stay in the conversation, and he's going to keep doing it as long as it works. The question is whether we're going to keep rewarding that behavior with our attention. The recovery community has been incredible in their response to this. Support groups and addiction counselors have been flooding social media with messages about respecting people's privacy and treating addiction with the seriousness it deserves. They're using this moment as a teaching opportunity, explaining to younger audiences why this kind of speculation is harmful. That's probably the only good thing to come out of this mess. So what do you think? Is there any scenario where 6ix9ine's claims could be credible, or is this just another desperate attention grab? And more importantly, how should we, as consumers of this content, respond when celebrities make these kinds of allegations without evidence? Should platforms like Instagram have stricter policies about making unverified claims that could harm someone's reputation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay updated on how this situation develops, Make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because I have a feeling this story isn't over yet. I'll see you in the next one.